More countries could help take the Strait of Hormuz as the conflict in the Middle East enters its third week. The coalition of the willing, tasked with breaking the Iranian blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, appears to be in a state of high-stakes diplomatic limbo. President Trump has significantly ramped up the pressure on global allies, warning that NATO faces a very bad future if its members don't step up to help secure the waterway, which, if you didn't know, handles 20% of the world's oil. While the White House claims to be in a state of preparatory planning with several nations, the actual military commitments from all of our traditional heavyweight reliant people like the UK, Japan, Australia, they're mostly out of reach for the administration at the time. In a rare show, though, of unified caution, several key allies have issued a joint statement this week expressing readiness to contribute, but pointedly stopped short of promising warships or troops. Italy, Germany, and France, what a crew to have on your side, have clarified their help is likely reserved for the post-conflict phase rather than the immediate combat. Meanwhile, the UK is reportedly considering the deployment of aerial mine-hunting drones as a defensive move intended to clear the gauntlet without being drawn into the direct naval fire that has already paralyzed about 95% of commercial traffic in the region. Okay, let's hear a little bit about this.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu now says his country will hold off on more attacks on Iranian gas fields as the president has requested. Good evening, I'm Steve Eager. That announcement came after Iran responded to an Israeli attack on its gas field by attacking energy facilities across the Persian Gulf. Meanwhile, today, Japan said it would be willing to help secure a key waterway in the Persian Gulf to ease the growing global energy crisis caused by the war. Though only the UK has sent assets to protect the Strait of Hormuz. The president, who started the war without seeking the backing of NATO allies, took aim at NATO countries for not being willing to help.
Defending the strait for everybody else, and then in the case of NATO, they don't want to help us defend the strait, and they're the ones that need it. But now they're getting much nicer.
The Pentagon is asking Congress for $200 billion to fund the war. Lawmakers are already debating, juxtaposing concerns about protecting the country versus paying for a war that was never voted on. As the war continues, Americans are feeling the impact of the gas pump. Oil prices jumped again this morning before dropping later in the day. Fox 4 Stephen Dial in studio after talking with an oil expert about if you should continue to brace for rising prices. Stephen.
Short answer is yes.
Yeah.
Today from the Oval Office,
Yay.
President Trump said that he thought gas prices would be worse. The president saying Americans may have to feel the brunt of the war, but thinks that the world will be much safer at his conclusion.
Because we're winning.
It's going to be over with pretty soon.
Thursday,
We're winning.
President Trump once again fielding questions about the war with Iran and the impact it's having on the American consumer.
I actually thought the numbers would be worse. I thought that it would go up more than it did. But we're doing this excursion, and when it's completed, we're going to have a much safer world.
Oil prices surged overnight as Iran intensified attacks on oil and gas facilities.
Oh.
The latest round of strikes came in response to the Israeli air attack on an Iranian natural gas field. This morning, the oil prices topped out at $119 a barrel,
Oof.
up from about $70 before the war started.
Yikes.
I spoke to the president of an independent oil and gas operating company about what he expects in the near future.
We could see prices go way up. I mean, $150 to $200 a barrel really soon if this disruption doesn't stop, or we don't find a solution, which I don't think we're going to see a solution anytime soon.
I would have to agree with him. Let's hear from Trump directly about whether or not we're going to have anybody even to talk to, because we're slaughtering them by the hundreds.
All those attacks that we're hitting those guys with, and they don't know what's happening. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft is all gone. It's all gone. Their radar is all gone.
Gone.
Their leaders are all gone. The next set of leaders are all gone. And the next set of leaders are mostly gone. And now nobody wants to be a leader over there anymore. We're having a hard time. We want to talk to them, and there's nobody to talk to. We have nobody to talk to. And you know what? We like it that way.
We like it that way. We like it that we have nobody to talk to. Honestly, I don't know that we're going to love it when Iran itself becomes a kind of hotbed for these Al-Qaeda, excuse me. I know when people love when I use the proper pronunciations, the Al-Qaeda groups. When it becomes a hotbed for terrorist organizations because they have no centralized government, and maybe like we get to see what the Persian version of the Taliban looks like. God, that's going to be exciting and fun, right? Meanwhile, Trump is having the audacity to ask for an additional, also the Pentagon, mostly the Trump administration, let's call it what it is. The Trump administration is asking for an additional $200 billion for the war with Iran. I thought we were close to winning.
Back here in the U.S., the Pentagon is now preparing to ask Congress for $200 billion to keep funding the war in Iran. The administration already saying the first week cost $11 billion alone, more than $1 billion a day. Some lawmakers asking tonight, if the president now says this is going to end soon, why are you asking for $200 billion more from taxpayers?
You don't need it.
At the moment today, President Trump and Japan's prime minister. The president was asked why he didn't tell U.S. allies before attacking Iran. He jokingly brought up Pearl Harbor.
Okay, this was funny. That was authentically funny.
Tonight, the Pentagon
when he brought up Pearl Harbor, well, they didn't tell us about Pearl Harbor. That was authentically funny. I'm not going to give him shit for that. And she didn't look like she knew how to respond. It was fine. It was perfectly fine. It was a good joke, and it'll go down in history as a great presidential joke. I'm sorry.
Preparing to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion to fund the war in Iran. A massive number Secretary Pete Hegseth says might not even be final.
I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys.
The request comes 3 weeks into the war. The Pentagon says the first week alone cost more than $11 billion. President Trump has said it will end soon. So today, reporters asking why he needs so much more money for this fight.
So we can win.
Almost over. Why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world.
On Capitol Hill, the $200 billion request catching many members of Congress.
You know what that means? It means we have more plans. We have more third world countries to topple. We need money. We need money in order to establish these coups. How do you think we got it done in Panama? How do you think we got it done in other countries? You know what? I'm just going to be honest.
Congress off guard. The president launched this war without seeking their approval. Now lawmakers from both parties demanding details before they write that check.
They need to come clean with the American people before they ask for $200 billion.
The president didn't consult American allies before going to war either. Today, as Trump welcomed Japan's prime minister to the Oval Office, a Japanese reporter asking why Japan wasn't given a heads up. Trump's response shocking the prime minister.
It's so
as he
funny.
invokes Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor.
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about three Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? He's asking me, do you believe in surprise?
Oh, that's so
I think
funny.
much more so than us.
The Japanese prime minister sitting there watching.
She's fine.
Spoke. And again, David, the president asking for that additional $200 billion.
She's the first female prime minister. She'll be fine.
$11 billion in just the
She's
first
tough.
week.
She's the Iron Lady.
$1 billion a day.
Mary Bruce tonight. Mary, thank you.
Mary, thank you tonight. Appreciate it, Mary. Ladies and gentlemen, they've also hit the Kuwait refinery. I'm going to play just a brief clip of that.
An Iranian news agency released footage on Friday of the country's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps launching missiles from an undisclosed location.
Why not?
As the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran showed no sign of ending. Kuwait's state oil firm said a refinery had suffered multiple drone attacks, setting some units alight. Shrapnel from Iranian missiles damaged residential areas of the Israeli city of Rehovot. Israel's military said it had attacked government facilities in Tehran. Iranian state TV said the deputy head of public relations for the IRGC had been killed.
That sucks. That sucks to be them, man. I don't know what else to say. It does. It really does, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, the urgency for the international solution by maybe next week or, you know, within the next few months at the very least. I don't feel like we're willing to go into a years-long war. It's driven a split in the global energy market. The United States and Israeli strikes under Operation Fury have hammered the Iran's conventional navy. Tehran has responded with the vetting system that allows the tiny subset of vessels to pass through its territorial waters while blocking everyone else. This chokehold has also sent oil prices skyrocketing past $110 a barrel, forcing countries like Japan to dip into their strategic reserves for the first time since the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. For listeners at home, ladies and gentlemen, you need to be nervous because it's going to affect you directly. The standoff in the Strait, it's not just your it's not just your conflict where you're going to see flags, you know what I mean? You're going to see maybe a very patriotic 4th of July. You are going to pay for it directly out of your taxes, out of your what runs in your car's engine. Literally everything that you rely on in your life is going to become more expensive. I think that record-breaking prices are not far off. I'm not trying to say this to make people nervous. I'm just saying that it's very, very likely that this is where we're headed. Take that as you